about different aspects of death. And I'm talking about, she made some of the saddest videos. We're talking children in caskets. I am a father of two very young children. And to see children in caskets, that punched me in the gut. Why was I curious about it? Well, I had a death recently. My mother passed. And I went to a very dark place. And other than going down to a cemetery and going down to a crematory or whatever, I looked on YouTube, and there is so much information about death. You want to know what happens to you when you die, you can look on the afterlife. People have several different stories. Hospice nurses talking about these patients and their experiences with these patients, like older men who know they're going to die, or they look off in the distance and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm gone, and then they die, or seeing spirits. I looked at ghosts and everything. By the way, do check out Wolfman, his show, Wolfman Paranormal, here on Spreaker. Very cool content, very good show. So anyway, so I was looking at all these things, and I saw this channel, the Reaper Files, and just kept going, and it's like a box of Cheez-Its for me. I just keep on each video, keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. The celebrity ones are about 2 to 3 minutes, where she just has the voice, computer voice saying Paul Walker was da 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 da, over pictures of him. And then she goes into more detail about death, where she's showing numerous pictures of, as I said, open casket funerals and people in various stages of death. And it was very interesting. I can say that I got into that because I'm kind of curious as to what happens, And it is interesting because I was looking at open caskets, because that was my main hang-up with my mom's passing, was an open casket funeral. I thought, my gosh, what are we going to do about that? Well, it turns out there was a viewing, and I ended up seeing my mother, and it was a shock, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. I guess because I was looking at all these Reaper Files videos, and I was sort of desensitized to it, which was what I was trying to do. I did not want to stand there and lose my shit. I had to be the strong one. I had to be the stable one. I had to be the one who took care of shit. It's taken care of. I didn't cry a bit at the funeral. I did not cry. When I had given the eulogy, I did not weep. When I saw my mother passed on, I just thought, you know what? She looks nice. And it was a testament to the embalmer. I was like, that embalmer did a good job. And I knew he did a good job because there are videos on YouTube about embalmers who do not do a good job, and train wrecks of open casket funerals. Yeah, I saw that too. A little bit of a morbid fascination with death, but it helps me to know that other people have a morbid fascination with death, because the Reaper Files, of course, 70,000 subscribers, millions of plays. And then we'll conclude with the story that ends the Reaper Files. And this is quite a story, ladies and gentlemen. The anonymous lady behind the Reaper Files, had started this channel in an attempt to fill a hole in her life, and that hole was her missing daughter. I don't mean that in any crude way. I mean, her daughter was taken from her, and she did not know where her daughter was, what her daughter was doing. She just longed for her daughter and missed her years and years and years and years. She was either taken from her, given up for adoption, however it worked. She didn't go into it. She wanted to maintain her privacy, and this lady who created the Reaper Files YouTube channel was great at maintaining her privacy. She was honestly the puppet master. She was the wizard behind the curtain. Nobody knew about her. Nobody knew who she was. They'd ask. She would ignore. She was just this being who made these videos about every aspect of death. If you've ever seen death photos from the 1800s, when photographs first came out, people would spring on a photograph of pictures with their dead relatives. And we're talking dead babies. We're talking dead children, posed in a way. And the way they took the photos back then was by old daguerreotype, and was by, basically, it had to do with light and putting an image on glass. Well, it took a long time. You had to just sit there and basically just be still for hours. You could take breaks and whatnot, but you had to basically be still for hours. And then, imagine sitting there with your dead relative, especially a dead baby, man. A baby who died, because a lot of babies died in the 1800s. They didn't have all the great vaccinations and all the great medical care. A lot of babies died back then, and this was the only way that they could have a picture with their loved one before they put them in the ground. Like to say hello to Darren again. Like to say hello to Dennis Dyche. Thank you for tuning in. This is quite an experience here, because Dennis Dyche actually has paranormal sixth sense, and Darren's asking, hours? Yes, hours. Old photography took hours, and they made these special like contraptions that would hold people upright. No, there were a couple that were like hours, and maybe it was hours. Darren says he thinks it was 15 minutes. I heard hours. Whatever the time it was, you're standing there next to your dead relative with a contraption holding them up and taking a picture. And sometimes they would do fantastic things. Like they would sew open the eyes and they would sew close the mouth. And they would put makeup upon makeup upon makeup. You can see some of these people died in horrible accidents and they are completely like wrecked, right? And the person doing the photo is obviously trying to make them look as natural as possible. So you'll see like clay and stuff. It is wild. And the Reaper files showcased this more morbid side of the world. So, as I was saying, the young lady or older lady, I'm not sure her age, her final video on her page reads, "I have found my daughter. I love her so much. I have not seen her in years. She is 16 now. Isn't she beautiful? I'm going to spend more time with my daughter, and I am going to make up for lost time." So, in my estimation, because as another host on this platform has said, I do have a PhD in psychology. My estimation is that her morbid curiosity for death stemmed from her grieving for her child, not knowing whether she was alive or dead, not knowing anything about her. It was based on the grieving for her child. When she found her daughter, she no longer had the need to obsess over death. And there hasn't been a video since. So if by some cosmic accident or funny coincidence, the lady who created all of those hundreds of videos for the Reaper files that left me completely entertained and that quenched my morbid curiosity, I would first like to say thank you, and I would second like to say I wish you and your daughter all of the best. And I hope that you can have a great life from this point forward. But I would like to see more Reaper file videos. Maybe get her involved. Maybe get her to try and come to the party, Get her into that. Hello, Andrew, Aussie Andrew from Australia. Thank you for tuning in. Get her to come into the party, and do those things together. She bought an EVP recorder towards the end of the run. And I'm wondering if maybe she had several ghost sessions with celebrities, Rowdy Roddy Piper and Michael Jackson, to name a few. I don't know how legitimate they were, but, I've always wanted to try an EVP recorder, and I am banned from doing so. Because I've been told by numerous people that if you let that side of the world into your world, it's gone. It's over. You're done. You will have very troubling times after that. And that's why paranormals and people who speak with ghosts, they have a tough time. So, in any case, we're about to wrap this up here. I want to thank the chatters for coming to the show. There was a little incident last night, and I want to say to Darren on the air, I didn't mean it to go that way, man. I apologize. I know there are people out there who are going to think that I was a dick for last night, but it's just the way the show went. I can't apologize. It was good radio. And, hopefully all this trouble on Spreaker here can be avoided. If you want to catch the show that I'm talking about, do go to my Spreaker page, www.spreaker.com/RIR show, and check out the Random Internet Radio show from last night. There's a lot of inside jokes, a lot of kind of weird things, but I know it's very interesting. So, in any case, I hope you were entertained by this podcast. If you want to catch more, do subscribe on iTunes, do subscribe on Google Play, iHeartRadio, and of course the mothership Spreaker. Send me an email, therirshow@gmail.com. Check out my Patreon if you feel like giving me money to do this shit. Send it over on my Patreon, and for your $5 donation, you will get a gift thought of yet. I thought about giving special little, special little things like here's a private recording or whatever. But then I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. So I got to come up with some t-shirts or something. So in any case, as usual, on Random Bites, we don't know what we're going to come up with, but tomorrow night, you can bet your ass it's going to be random. Thank you for listening, and we're going to leave you with that wonderful song that Apocalypse sent us. Do appreciate you, Apocalypse, recording this song just for the show. So, for all of us here at the Random Internet Radio Show and Random Bites, meaning me, Alan Wayne, have a great evening, and tune in tomorrow for more Random Bites.
Let me see your back. It's really quite simple. Let me see your back. I love you just for your pimples. Oh, please let me lift up your shirt. When I squeeze, I get off when they squirt. Let me see your back. Let me see your back. It's really quite simple. Let me see your back. I love you just for your pimples. Oh, please let me lift up your shirt. When I squeeze, I get off when they squirt. Let me see your back. But it's not just your back. You've got heads of black all over your nose. I bought Biore strips, and with one little rip, we'll watch them explode. Let me see your back. It's really quite simple. Let me see your back. I'd love you just for your pimples. Oh, please let me lift up your shirt. When I squeeze, I get off when they squirt. Let me see your back.
Here's what radio legend Poor Man had to say about the Random Internet Radio Show. And you're a Los Angeles radio legend, man. Thank you, Poor Man. I do appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, you are the legend, Alan. This is the greatest moment in my career to be on the Random Internet Radio Show. I thought I had achieved great things before, but this is number one in my career. Number one!
The Random Internet Radio Show live every Saturday night at 6 p.m. Pacific on Spreaker.com. Welcome to the Random Bites podcast, available on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Google Play, and just added to iHeartRadio. A new podcast every day featuring interviews and a unique take on the world we live in. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Random Bites.